Hey YouTube, it is I, Zach Mander, your coach of the Canadian Sarah Lucius, and guys, we have joined another draft league, ODL Season 2. So last season, I placed 5th place out of 12 coaches, so pretty decent. I made it to playoffs, but I feel like I could have done better. So, we're in ODL Season 2, and my goal is to do better than I did last time. And I think my team is a top caliber team. So, this league, I got 8th pick out of 14 coaches. So this time we have 14 coaches. So I got 8th pick. So that's pretty good. But before I talk about my draft, I want to quickly talk about a small recap of season 1. So season 1, I was happy with my performance in most of my games. There were some outlier games where I think I could have played better, and even the games I lost, I think I could have also played better, but that's with every game. But what I've learned is I need to make sure I draft Pokemon that I can build around, and of course, Pokemon that I'm comfortable with. Because I'll be honest, first season I picked Dragapult. Dragapult's a great draft Pokemon, but if you see here, its bulk isn't the best, and its attacking stats and speed are great, but the attacking stats aren't like they're not super good. But this first pick that I picked has some good attacking stats. And my first pick now we're talking about my draft. My first pick was Spectrier. Look at this one. 145 special attack and 130 speed. This thing is like Electrode on crack. But this mon does have one slight issue and is pretty monotype coverage. Only really getting Shadow Ball, Dark Pulse, and Draining Kiss is the only way to do super effective damage to the Dark types. So Dark types do wall this Pokemon, so I definitely need to get some good Dark type checks, which I feel like I did. This thing does also get Will-O-Wisp, which is really huge for crippling Pokemon, and can really damage a Dark type Pokemon. So it also gets Foul Play, gets Haze to stop setup, and of course Nastily Plot and Calm Mind. So this mon gets some great coverage, and I'm so excited to use it. This is going to be a main attacker, and Ghost is just such a good typing. So my second pick. You know how I was talking about, if you guys watch my MDL video, I wanted Pecharunt. And this time, I got it. I got Pecharunt. Now, Pecharunt is my second Pokemon. Now, this mon here is my physical tank. Now, Spectrier here actually has better SPDF, not the greatest SPDF, it has good HP, but is a more SPDF-oriented Pokemon-ish. And I wanted to get something super physically tanky because this is my favorite physical wall. Like, I like Avalon as well, but Pecharunt, in my opinion, it can be used better offensively and has good speed, which I like in my walls. My tanky Pokemon have some good speed as well. So yeah, so this mon, of course, is the newbie, Pecharunt here. We got, of course, Malignant Chain. I butchered that. But yes, this move paired with Hex goes stupid. Also gets Nightshade if I want to run full bulk. Parting Shot for pivot. It also gets Substitute, Toxic. It also gets Terra Blast, which isn't bad special coverage. Because this mon doesn't have very many moves. This kind of like Spec here, where it just doesn't have much coverage in general. So, it also has Imprison, which can be useful if I'm trying to imprison a Submon or something. So yeah, that's Pecharunt here, mainly my physical wall, but I can also use this as a bulky offense Pokemon, because this mon has lots of potential. Now, my next Pokemon. Now, originally, I was going to get a Hisuian Samurott. Hisuian Samurott is going to be back on my team. But, there is one Pokemon still on the board that I wasn't expecting. I was actually going to pick this second, but I was like, I have so many backups. Pecharunt is like special, one of a kind. But this Pokemon is also one of a kind in its own way, and that's Palafin. Yep. Somehow, Palafin was still on the board. So these stats, may not look the greatest. 100 HP is actually pretty good, and 100 speed is also good. And these attacking stats, they don't last for long. So let's go to Palafin Hero. It turns into this demon with a super high physical attack, great HP, has decent bulk, still the same speed stat, which is fine, and a good special attacking stat. So if I wanted to run special, I could. It also gets super good coverage. It gets Boom Burst. It also gets good special fighting coverage in Aura Spear, so I don't need to rely on Focus Blast, which is awesome. It also gets a signature move Jet Punch, which is in the usually useless moves for some reason. But this is Aqua Jet on crack. This is just 10 times better version of Aqua Jet, which is just awesome. It also gets Tickle, so you never know. It gets a lot of good water moves, but it also gets good physical coverage. Outrage, Iron Head. It also gets Grass Knot for like if I'm fighting a Swampert. That's definitely something I would consider. It also gets Encore. It's also like a good sub bulk up Pokemon. So this one has a lot of potential, and I'm really excited to use it. Now, my next Pokemon. Now, I wanted to get my first Terra Captain. Now, Terra Kilowattra was taken. That was one Terra I was considering getting, but there was one other Terra I wanted more, and I really didn't want to risk losing it like I did in the ZDL. I mean, losing in the ZDL was a blessing in disguise, as Venomoth is. Let's just say it's kill leading a little too much. I brought it to 2 games and it has 7 kills. So it's pretty nuts. So my next Pokemon is Pheasantipity with Terra. Now the Terra types I picked for this mod, I picked Terra Fairy, Terra Dark, and Terra Ground. Now the reason I picked Terra Fairy is because I think Fairy is the better type between Fairy and Poison. Also boosting Moonblast or Play Rough or whatever other moves this physical Fairy would get. I don't think there's anything it gets that's special. It's just special Fairy moves that it gets. Well, yeah. So it's there to boost Play Rough and Moonblast as well. And if I'm running a special one, I do have Heat Wave coverage, so that's nice. So yeah, Terra Fairy, and I have Terra Dark to boost the Dark Pulse and make it immune to Psychic. And my final Terra is Terra Ground. So I have Heat Wave. So I wasn't gonna do Terra Fire. Terra Fire was originally gonna be my Terra because it resists Steel, but Steel types I'm not too concerned about because of course I have Palafin that can deal with steel types and Pecharunt that can also deal with steel types as well, especially the physical steel types and special steel types. Combine Fez can wall and it can do great like neutral. Terra Ground is there for coverage. So Terra Blast Ground, Heat Wave, Moonblast pairs really well because Heat Wave and Terra Blast Ground hits every steel type super effectively that I can think of, except for Skarmory and Corviknight. So, well, no, sorry, not Corviknight and Skarmory. Whatever resists both fire and ground, which I can't think of that type on the top of my head, so I think that we're chilling. This mon is going to be super strong, and it being a Terra Captain's even better because it's already a good mon without it. So my next Pokemon, I needed a Dark type at this point, and a lot of the dark types I wanted, there weren't very many dark types I wanted, but I also wanted a ground type, so I decided to combine them and get Crocodile. Now, Crocodile is a really good Intimidate mod, also has Anchor Point, which, it's whatever, it's a good ability, and Moxie. So this mod gets 2 really good abilities and a niche ability and Anchor Point. Oh, water. So, this mon gets a bulk up. It also gets scale shot, I'm pretty sure, right? Yeah, it gets scale shot. So this one can actually be a really good sweeper. This thing gets knockoff. It also gets rocks, which I didn't have because none of my Pokemon get hazards. It sucks that Fez doesn't get T-Spikes and Petront doesn't get T-Spikes. I think they should. Especially Fez should get T-Spikes. This mon makes sense to get T-Spikes. I'm surprised that doesn't. But yeah, Crocodile is a strong Earthquake user. It's really good at being a Moxie Sweeper, a good defensive Pokemon. It doesn't get any pivot moves, I don't think, but that's fine. I was gonna pick an Incineroar, but I wanted to get the ground type pick out of the way because I didn't really know what ground type I wanted. So I just said, we'll get Crook, and maybe I'll get Incineroar, and then my team, I'm happy with my team. And I found a better fire type anyway that I wanted to draft that was cheaper, so that was good. So yeah, it's got Earthquake, it's got Dragon Coverage, Crunch, CC, Aqua Tail, and of course Scale Shot. So this mon is going to be amazing. Can play so many roles, which is important at this stage. So my next pick, I needed hazard removal, and what's better than the fastest Pokemon in the game? Regieleki. Now, I didn't know what I wanted in my Rapid Spinner. I was originally going to go for Terrapagos, but since Palafin and Spectrier were such expensive picks, I wanted to be a bit wise with my points, so I got a Lecky. Now, Lucky has decent attacking stats, but this speed stat is huge. Fastest mon in the game besides Choice Scarfs from some Pokemon, but this thing can outspeed Choice Scarf mons, which is awesome. Great dual screen setter, E-Speed, Explosion, and Spin. This mon is here to get rid of hazards and just be a strong electric type. If there's no ground types on the opposing team, this mon can wreak havoc. That's for sure. This mon doesn't really get coverage. It's kind of monotype, kind of like a lot of my Pokemon, like Pecharunt, Spectriate, and Regieleki. So Crocodile and Fez can also make up for that as well, and my other picks too. So I wanted to get my next Terra Captain, and last season, season 1, my favorite Pokemon, I had 3 favorites that I was thinking of getting this season: Hisuian Samurott, Moltres, and Arboliva. Now I had Hatterene, but I got it again ZDL, so I didn't really want to get it again. I do love using Hat though, so it's definitely a Pokemon in my books. It was definitely like actually in my consideration. I was gonna draft it, but if I had 1 point to spare, I probably would have had it again this season, I'll be honest. But I didn't have enough points for it, so so be it. So my next pick is Arboliva, not Arbok. Arboliva is my second Terra captain. The Terra types I picked were the same as ODL Season 1, Grass, Fire, Fairy. I think those are just the 3 best Terra types on this mon. Now this mon is also a normal type, so it's a good ghost immunity pre-Terra. I was actually thinking of putting Terra Normal on this Pokemon, but I don't want the fighting weakness. That's the main problem with this mon, is the fighting weakness. And Seed Sower is really good because a lot of mons run Earthquake, and they don't really run high horsepower to account for this Pokemon as much. And even if they do run high horsepower, this mon is pretty bulky and gets Strength Sap, so I'm not too concerned about it. It does get good coverage with Alluring Voice and Earth Power, kind of like Shaman. It's very Shaman-like coverage, which I was going to get Shaman Sky, which is a lot in this league, but of course, it gets taken right before as my pick. But yeah, this mon does get bug coverage with Pollen Puff. It can get Sunny Day. It can run Sunny Day Harvest. There's so many cool sets. It also gets dual screens. I think the best sets are going to be like Strength Sap sets and stuff like that. This Pokemon was really good in my ODL season. Every single game I brought it to, it did something. And this Mon could do work. In the game against Ben Galago, the game that I lost, this Mon popped off, and I could have done even better if I played it better. So, this is definitely a Mon I wanted again. So, at this point, I wanted a Steel type, and I wanted a Dragon type, and I had 2 options: Archaludon and Duraludon. And I was initially going to go for Duraludon. That was my plan. I was like, okay, I'm going to get Duraludon, but Arch was still on the board, and I didn't want to rely on Eviolite. I wanted to be able to run other items like Assault Vest, Leftovers, Citrus Berry, whatever it may be. So I got Archaludon as my next Pokemon. Now, I do not have a rain team, but I definitely have the fundamentals of a rain team with Palafin and Archaludon. So manual rain could be a potential bring. I'm not sure if Arch does not give rain dance, unfortunately. This mon got rain dance. This would be awesome. This mon would be almost perfect because this thing getting rain dance would be perfect. So this mon gets good coverage, or a spear fighting coverage, but I think the best fighting move to run on it is body press because it has the ability stamina. So it also has sturdy, which isn't bad, but this thing is so bulky that I just want to keep it like this. Now, initially, there was like Hisuian Gudra was taken by this point, and I was thinking of getting Hisuian Gudra, and if I did get Hisuian Gudra, I'd have 1 more point for Hat. But I didn't want another poison weakness. I wanted a poison immunity, actually. Even though I had a couple poison resist already, I just didn't want to have I wanted to have a Steel type, and my Psychic type, spoiler alert, is a pure Psychic type. I didn't want to have the Steel weakness and all these other weaknesses. I could counteract them, but at the end of the day, I just thought that my Psychic type I picked was better. So yeah, this mon gets Electro Shot. Good physical and special coverage. You can run it kind of both ways, which is nice. It gets T-Wave. This mon can be really offensive, defensive. It can do it all. That's what I love about this. It can do it all. Alright, next Pokemon. It's also pretty fast. Alright, next Pokemon. My next Pokemon is my Psychic type. Now, I was going to pick Hat. I'll be honest. I was going to pick Hat. But instead, I got Uxie. Now, Uxie gets Manual Weather, which I actually really wanted a Pokemon that could get it. Like, a good, bulky Pokemon. Because Hat, one thing I wish Hat had was Manual Weather. Because Hat doesn't get Rain Dance or Sunny Day, which sucks. It's a great Pokemon. I love Hat. One of my favorite draft Pokemon. But Uxie here, this is hopefully gonna be my Hatterene of the season. Now this Pokemon gets Nasty Plot. So even though its attacking stats are kind of mid, Pheasantipity can put in work. This mon can put in work. It doesn't get swords edge. This is another stealth rocker. It also can set up trick room for my Arbaliva as well. And it's also can be a good. It's actually based. Wait a minute. Wait. You're telling me this Mon is faster than Mesprit? I did not know that. So this base 95 speed is actually really good. I can get rocks up. I can be offensive. I can be defensive. It gets U-turn for pivoting. It has a lot of support moves. This Mon does it all. And for 10 points, this Mon's actually pretty good. Now, this Mon is kind of weak, but with Nasty Plot, it can be strong. And this Mon's kind of goal is set rocks and be more of a defensive Pokemon. This Mon is basically like a Cresselia, but less bulky. But obviously, Cress over here doesn't get like stealth rocks. Doesn't get stealth rocks or anything. So that's not a big deal. I mean, obviously, it gets the weather, and it's also way bulkier. And it's also decently fast. But it also gets proper recovery. But Uxie gets rocks, and Uxie gets better setup. Like, this gets Calm Mind, Uxie gets Nasty Plot. So Uxie can be used better, and Uxie was 2 points less than this Mon, and Crest was also taken. And I was needing to budget on my points. So yeah, that's why I picked this Mon. Now my last Pokemon. Here. I needed a fire and fighting type, and Emboar and Paldean Tauros Blaze were in my eyesight. Now, Emboar was too many points, so I had to go with Paldea Tauros Blaze. But one thing I liked about this Pokemon was Intimidate. This is another Intimidate Pokemon, so I don't need to rely on Crook for Intimidate support. This Mon also gets Bulk Up as well, CC, Fire moves. This is kind of like pretty similar coverage to the Palafin. It also gets Iron Head, which is nice for fairies. It's a fighting type not weak to fairy, which is awesome. It is unfortunately weak to Earthquake, but I do have Uxie as a Levitate Pokemon, and obviously Intimidate will help, and Arbaliva's Terrain will help, and Arbaliva is an incredible ground resist, which is really good to have. This Mon does not get Sword Stance, but it gets Trailblaze to increase its speed. It gets Zen Headbutt for psychic coverage. It does get Weather. You know, it also gets Will-O-Wisp. This Mon can really be bulky or offensive, which I think, like I noticed with my last few picks, like Archelodon, Uxie, Tauros, Arbaliva, even before that with Crocodile, and even Palafin too. They have a very bulky offensive team, and that's what I love. This is a team that I love. Um, yeah, this team's freaking awesome. I'm really happy with my draft. Obviously, I wanted to get Hatterene every single high tier season. Hatterene was gonna be my Mon. Hatterene was still on the board at this point, and I was really debating getting Hisui and Gudra instead of Arch, just to get Hat on my team. But Hatterene got picked up by another coach, so now Silverhawk. So Silverhawk, when we battle, the Hatterene comes out. I don't think you can use it like I can. Yeah, as I'm talking smack when I have one kill. I think Hatterene's actually like one of the bottom frags of the season. Has one kill and like 5 deaths. It's died every single game. Has like one kill. Yeah, I got one kill. My kill leader Venomoth has like 12. So Venomoth is going like nuts. So yeah, guys, I hope you enjoyed the draft analysis. I am recording this. I am going to upload the ZDL Week 6 battle early for you all. So this video will probably come out tomorrow, maybe even today, like tonight. So I might get the battle out and I might get this video out today. So I hope you all enjoy. And guys, I'm super excited to use this draft. I've got so many cool mons and I'm going to cook. I don't know who my first week opponent is as I'm recording this during the grace period, and I'm not planning on making any changes, and if I do, well, time to re-record, huh? But guys, I'll see you all next time.